Good morning, welcome. So it's nice today to see the faces of the people that interact with us via email, via the phone. So this is indeed one opportunity for us to interact. I will give you a short overview of what are our activities at the SME office. So we will start for the regulation that triggered the creation of our office, then our activities, and what we are planning for the future in terms of our SME action plan. And at the end, we have some tips and recommendations for you. So it all started with the SME regulation back in 2005. The aim of this regulation was to promote the innovation and the development of new medicines by SMEs. And with that came the creation of the SME office that was launched in 2005 with a single contact point for providing assistance for SMEs and promoting communication, coordination, and networking. So now, more than 10 years after, the SME office is a quite established office at the agency, and we take care of several activities. So we'll go through the different activities that we promote. The first one of the important ones, is the assignment of the SME status. So to be eligible to the incentives, you have to have an active SME status. For that, you should be very much all aware that you have to submit a declaration. The declaration will go on a review procedure and will issue a qualification. This qualification needs to be renewed every year. So I would like also to mention here that this qualification is specifically for EMA activities and not for Horizon 2020 activities, because we have had some situations that people have contacted us with the aim of applying for Horizon. So our qualification is based on the EMA activities. At the moment, we have, as of yesterday, 1,853 active companies registered in our database. So the number, as you can see, has increased since 2006, and indeed we have been growing, and we have representatives from all over Europe, with most SMEs are located in UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain. So majority micro companies and human. We have 78% of our companies are human companies, but we have also some vet companies and service providers. And you can find information on the companies that are registered on a EMEA public register. So one of our important activities is in terms of regulatory assistance and providing SME briefings. So you can interact with us via email, or you can call us, and you can ask whatever sort of regulatory or administrative procedural questions, and we'll try to our best knowledge and with the support of the network to help you. So we have seen an increase on the regulatory system, and this year we had responded 158 requests of regulatory support. One of the aspects I would also like to highlight is the SME briefing meeting. So the SME office gives the possibility for SMEs to discuss their development in early stage. So this is a platform for discussion, and companies provide us with an overview of their product, their development, and we discuss that within the context of the regulatory framework. We count with the collaboration, with the support of EMEA offices, mostly in the area of development. So usually we have participants from scientific advice, pediatrics, orphans, regulatory affairs, Prime. So we have colleagues from the agency that will support you and will give you the advice to our best knowledge. This is open for human or veterinary products. It's free of charge, and you just need to request to us. We discuss indeed if this is the most appropriate forum to discuss your development, because sometimes when companies have already contacts and already started scientific advice, it's better to continue with the path that has already started than to go to an SME briefing meeting. So we have a discussion, a very informal discussion. We prepare the meetings. We try to be as informal and as pragmatic, and hopefully we are supporting you in your development. This can also be face-to-face or via TC. We have, most of them have been face-to-face. Companies like the face-to-face interaction, and indeed it's easier, although via teleconference has the advantage of being easier to prepare, and usually we can respond faster. So this year we have been having increased number in requests, and this year we had already completed 15 briefing meetings from all different therapeutic areas you can imagine, but mostly maybe we had a lot in oncology and anti-infectives. So just a little reminder of the SME fee incentives. The fee incentives are relevant, are important, and there are significant fee reduction or exemptions, namely in the scientific advice. One important aspect, if you're asking scientific advice, please ensure that you have an active status, because you need at the start of the scientific advice to have the active status so that you are entitled to the fee incentives. We have some deferrals in terms of the marketing authorization holder. There is one aspect, the conditional fee exemption, that I will go through in the next slide, because not so many SMEs are aware of that. And there are fee reductions in terms of post-authorization procedures and pharmacovigilance activities. All the details on the fee are mentioned in our explanatory notes. The general ones on fees, and also one on the pharmacovigilance fees. So this is just to highlight that there's a lot of incentives, and you should make use of that. So one of the aspects is this conditional fee exemption. And what is this conditional fee exemption? In case a company has an SME at the end has a negative opinion or withdraws their application, and in case that company has requested scientific advice and has followed scientific advice, in case there is the fee, the marketing authorization fee, is waived. So we have not been used much this incentive, but it's important for you to be aware. But in this situation, the company has to request it to the SME office and provide a justification, and there will be an appropriate review of that. Also, we collaborate in the translation assistance, so we provide, at the time of the marketing authorization, translation of the product information at no cost to the SME applicant. Also, one important aspect of our work is in terms of training and awareness. And for that, our info days are one important highlight of our activities. And this year we had two info days. So the first one was on the clinical trials in March, and this is the second. We also provide quarterly newsletters. We send mailings on specific activities that we find relevant for SMEs. And we have also the SME user guide. I'm not sure if you are aware of that. I always like to advertise it because it really compiles the complex regulatory framework and makes it easy and easy to read. In terms of partnering and network, we have the SME register where the companies are listed, and it's an important. It gives important information. And in terms of reporting is also one important task. We have every year our annual report. So it's, I've also put the links in the presentations that will be public available, but gives an idea of all the activities related with SMEs and some statistics. I've also highlighted the SME, the 10-year report from 2015, because it's a more elaborated report on our activities. Also, in terms of monitoring, in terms of marketing authorization, we see that indeed SMEs are still struggling in terms of reaching marketing authorizations, mainly in clinical and quality aspects. And indeed, it was one of the aspects that we thought it's important for us to give this info day on the SME early interaction, so that we can try to support you and to guide you in your development. In terms of planning for the future, we have published this year an SME action plan, and this action plan was based on, on previous surveys and the 10-year report, where we try to gather what are the needs of the SMEs. And it's based on 4 key areas, which are awareness of the SME initiative, training and education, support development of innovative medicines, and engagement with SMEs, EU partners, and stakeholders. So this info day, in a way, ticks all our key priorities. And just to finalize this presentation, we thought it would be useful to gather some kind of tips for you and recommendations. So EMEA has available a lot of guidance, and it's important that you take advantage of that. I would recommend to start with our SME guidance, because it's a way for you to know where the topic, how to start with the topic, and then navigate through our procedure guidance. Also, our previous trainings can provide important information on specific topics and overviews. The EPAR, so all the information we publish on the products, can be useful if you are investigating in a certain therapeutic area or certain type of approval. That can give you some useful information. And then one important message is also take opportunity of all the interactions that EMEA promotes and offers, and this can be in the form of SME briefing meetings, ITFs, scientific advice, prime scheme. Take into account you will need to have a pediatric plan, take advantage of pre-submission meetings, and also consider policy 70. So in a nutshell, these are our recommendations. So with this, I finish the SAP office presentation. Just to highlight, we have, there's a lot of broad range of incentives to SMEs, and at the SME office we are committed to foster an environment that provides incentives and promotes the work of the SME. Thank you.